everybody. This is the moment y'all been waiting for. We've had a long off season. We're finally here. I got my man P More Parlays, D Lils from Pro Football Forensics, the number one NFL forecasting app on the planet. Tonight, you guys have the pleasure of hearing our first episode of Sharps and Minnows. That's Sharps with a P. Um, so there's a lot of things that we want to break down tonight. We're heading into the first NFL weekend. That's a lot of money to be made, and we want to help you make it. Ultimately, that's our end goal. So the first thing that we want to get into tonight is the Survivor League. Everybody and their grandma got a Survivor League going right now, right? And so for those who don't know, Survivor League is essentially when you pick a winner, one team to win every week. It's a single elimination. If your team loses, you're out. You don't get to start
You're
over.
out.
And that's it. Now, some leagues got a buyback in, but for the purpose of this, we're going to assume that you don't have a buyback. Okay.
One and done.
One and done. One and done. So that's essentially what a Survivor League is. You pick a team. After you've picked that team, you can no longer pick that team to win the rest of the season. That team is now removed from your list, and you have to use the other 31 NFL teams. Each week as you advance, you get less and less teams until the last person is standing who was able to get, 16 games straight correct, which is difficult to do. You have to use half the league. So,
and just to do a quick tidbit, the whole purpose of a survivor pool again is to survive into the end, and you're essentially collecting the big pot of money. So depending on the survivor pool, it can be several hundred or several thousands of people that are putting into this pot. So if you're the last person standing, there's definitely strategic ways to do. But a lot of people go down each week, and week one is a big heavy one where there can be upsets, or later in the season you don't have good teams to pick from, and you're kind of forced to make a decision you don't want to do. So that's why we're here, fellas.
So you mentioned strategy, so I want to stay there real quick, Paul. Strategies going into a Survivor League, right? There's a lot of different strategies you could try to implement. What are some of your strategies, right? Like, and we can speak to what we do, but what are your strategies going into a Survivor League?
So into a Survivor League, I'm definitely gonna have multiple entries so that some picks can be a little more stressful, others kind of just intuition and having fun with it. But
Right.
they're all grading my chances at staying to the end and surviving, being king of the hill or queen of the hill, and being the last survivor to collect that pot of money. So having multiple entries is going to be always a rule of thumb, and really having teams that you just think are going to win. You got to have the highest caliber in teams in there if you have multiple entries, and then the other entries are really for, hey, this is going to be used as a team that I don't think highly of in terms of the long run in the season, but they should definitely beat their opponent this week. So it's kind of a half and half where half of your entries are going to be teetered towards teams that definitely know are going to get the job done regardless of the rest of the season, and then the other half you're going to have to hold your reserve of those strong teams where later you're going to need those Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady,
Absolutely.
Lamar, all of the people who have known to be able to have a Patrick Mahomes, just a proven winning record, no matter who the opponent is, home or away. So you have to look at all of that.
So just for to pull back the curtain for our viewers right now, P More Parlay and I are in a Survivor League. Currently, that Survivor League has already 53 people who bet on Thursday night's Tampa Bay Bucks to win. And that's a straight up bet. So what I want to talk about, Paul, is essentially we're going to simulate this as if we have one pick, right? But for the sake of the viewers, let's give them one safe pick, and then let's give them one risky pick for week one, who what I would consider risky is a team that you might not be a dominant win or a dominant lock for week one, but if you can get that team early and sneak like maybe a team that might not be good towards the end of the season and get them out of the way now, so you can save some of those better teams that are marching towards the playoffs later. So safe picks this week. I'm looking at the NFL schedule. Does anything stand out to you this week? Safe picks.
I mean, safe picks. Again, safe is relative. We're sports
It's
betting.
relative.
Just like the stock market, everything is relative. What's safe, what's not.
Right.
You got long-term mutual accounts and you got crypto, but you can make money. So that's what we're here for. But I mean, when I look at, based on data and trends in the past, you got to look
Mhm.
at the teams that are going to get the job done early in season, early and often. What teams are those? People are going to be high on the Chiefs, but they probably are going to have the toughest opponent and the higher caliber teams. Mention the Buccaneers playing the Cowboys. Um, you got, a strong offense in the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. You know, although he is going on the road, if anyone wants to dive into those categories, he's a very strong performer on the road, not only against the spread, but straight up. Um, you know, that
Yeah, so it's crazy, Paul.
knocking
Like when
those
you
categories count towards safe bet to me. And I'm not a Ravens fan per se, but
right.
the organization is run well, and I don't even need to look back, but I know the last 3 years they've blown opponents out in the first 2 to 3 games of the year.
So Paul, what I was gonna say is like you look at these games, and when you really look at them, nothing really looks safe. If you actually look at these games, right?
Yeah,
Like
safe. I
you
wouldn't
pick any
use the
game.
word safe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not safe. I mean, you look
it's
at
not safe out here.
Steelers, Bills. There's no safe pick with that, right?
Yeah,
Cardinals,
yeah.
Titans. I mean, there's some battles week one. So when it comes down to actually a safe pick, um,
You know,
right now I got to look at a couple
Mm,
people, right? The Packers and the Saints. You never, general rule of thumb, you don't bet against Aaron Rodgers week one,
yeah.
right? That's something
Another
that you do.
very. That's a. I mean, he's going to get the job done. Personally, in my opinion. Now, how the game's going to go, that definitely is up for speculation. If Jameis Winston's going in and the team's behind him, I'm sure James can have a good game, and
Right.
that the Saints have an organization and the way they run their offense, they can score points. But when it comes to what Aaron Rodgers is, essentially regrouped with his team for this so-called last dance, you know he's proven to make sure he wins those season openers. So uh, again,
S-
safe
So
is a
I got to
relative
pay
word,
attention
but
to one thing though. They're not playing in New Orleans, and that's why I think that
mhm,
is even a stronger pick. Obviously, Hurricane Ida made this game a neutral site almost game because you're going to Tampa. You're going
correct.
to, I'm sorry, Jacksonville is where they're playing, right? And so
Yeah,
that
Florida,
takes,
but
when you take the Saints out of New Orleans, out of that
mhm,
Mercedes-Benz Dome, they're a
mhm,
whole different team when
whole
you don't
different
have
team.
that, you know what I
And I
mean?
mean,
So,
their track record on the road was not all that well with Drew Brees. He's
right.
definitely had some struggles on the road, and we you have to say it. We're definitely a tier down with Jameis Winston. Although Jameis Winston can definitely have a good season. I mean, he can have a great season. He's got the weapons at his disposal, but again, he hasn't really been in that role, and his past transgressions are definitely gonna hinder him. So we'll see how that plays. But if you had to ask me, as a betting man, I'm gonna definitely take Aaron Rodgers for
You
sure.
take Aaron Rodgers will be your quote unquote safe
Mm,
bet for week one. And just a
yeah.
tidbit, guys, if you turn to the Pro Football Forensics app right now, when Jameis is a starting quarterback and is a home underdog, he's 0-2 against the spread, both losses by double digits. Now, again, they're out of New Orleans, right? So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But I do think Jameis is going to have success. But again, you're coming in with the Aaron Rodgers who has his whole team back circa day 2015 with Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams.
hmm
I think things are going to get bad really quick. Saints don't have Michael Thomas. Tre'Quan Smith is injured. He's questionable to go. I think if they take out Kamara, they have a chance of this game getting out of hand. And then Jameis is going to be playing catch up. So it
We're
sounds like the
playing
pick is the
box.
Packers.
We're checking box after box after box for as safe as you can get. Um,
All right,
but again, I
cool.
did mention
So
the Ravens, so you have those options. But
we all know the Ravens are a strong road team. But again, I think being that that's going to be the opening game
yeah,
in Vegas, the first game in Vegas with fans, I don't know if I want to
correct. So it's
bet
really
against the Raiders.
pick
Right.
your what flavor do you like better? Do one's obviously going on the road and it's a lot of hype around the game. One shows that hey Aaron Rodgers is most likely going to get the job done, but what factors can possibly scare you in New Orleans? They're most likely less than the Ravens game, so that is definitely a fair assessment.
All right, cool. So on the flip side, if we were going to take a risky play, right? And like I said, they all can be considered risky. If we want to get maybe a team that's not as highly ranked in terms of power rankings and try to get them out the way this week, who are we reaching for?
That's a really good question there. Because I mean, again, as you said earlier, there's a lot of dogfights. A lot of good teams play each other, and a lot of bad teams play each other. If you just look at it, everything in a nutshell. But honestly, taking a risk, you know, first time coaches don't really do well. So, I looked
I
at
was
the
going there.
Falcons, but
I was going there.
I looked
Oh,
at the Falcons, but if you ask me, I'm gonna more so look at the Jaguars going to play the Texans. I mean, to
okay.
me, there's zero continuity. I have no idea who the quarterback is in Houston. I'm actually going to be in Houston
It's Tyrod.
in about a day or two. So, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, we got Tyrod. He's had maybe one successful year when he had a really good team with the Bills that's been taken over by a better quarterback.
Okay.
Although he did get hurt, we all know what happened and occurred. But let's be honest, he's not an elite or top tier or second top tier quarterback, in my humble opinion. So,
That agree.
do I think he can hold a team together? Yes, I can. But I think if Trevor Lawrence comes out, he can have I mean, the guy's never lost in the regular season. So he's playing a low ranked team. I mean, it's set up for him to just have the hype of the whole NFL on him week one. People are going to be throwing out rookie of the year bets. I think the mania is going to be crazy. And I'm a guy that follows these trends and I try to predict them before they happen. Trevor Lawrence is the real deal, and he's definitely has some weapons around him, and his defense looks like he can be supportive. So he had some ups and downs in preseason, but I mean they're going to play the Texans, and the Texans are just dismantled from within right now. So you know, like I said, I looked at the Falcons, but I don't really. There's a lot of unknown factors with the Eagles and the Falcons. There's more known factors with the
They
Houston
both have
Jaguars
rookie head
game, and
coaches, right? And
yeah,
so do the
and the
Jaguars and Texans both have rookie head coaches as well. So
correct. But it's more
yeah,
lopsided in the Jaguars' favor, I think. Although it is a road game, um, again, I just think the construction of the teams are very lopsided. So when everything else is on a playing field and you got a highly recruited, or a quarterback that's performed at a high level all his life from start to finish, I mean,
so
those
I'm gonna go in
athletes
a
have been
different
panning out
direction.
lately.
I'm not mad at you, Trevor Lawrence. We've been waiting, like I said. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect to come in since Andrew Luck, right? I would say.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
I'm not mad at that. However, I believe there may be a slightly safer pick. Um, check out the
So we're
Jets
talking.
at
Are we
Carolina.
talking safe?
I'm
Are we
sorry.
talking
I'm sorry.
safe?
We're
Or are we
talking
talking
risk. We're
risky?
talking risk. A safer, riskier bet, right? So
Okay.
I think that let's go to Carolina and look at the Jets at Carolina. We got Sam Darnold playing against his old team.
Hmm.
We got the Jets
Revenge
with the
game.
revenge game. We got the Jets with the rookie head coach, right? Um, we you got rookie quarterback, right? And
Very true.
a couple things to let you guys know. So one, when Carolina holds an opponent under 25 points last season, they were 5-0. So they're bringing back the majority of their defense. I don't think the Jets are going to get 25 points. They don't. Do you know who their running back is? Ty
No,
Johnson. He sounds like a basketball player.
yeah, he definitely does. But with that being said, uh, you know, they can definitely put some points on the board, slow and surely. But over 25, I'll definitely take the under on that. I mean, I can
You think
see,
you think you
them.
think they're going to put points up against that Carolina had a decent defense.
Uh, I mean, it's a home game, so they should be coming out. But uh, again, this week one jitters
It's
coming
Carolina
out.
at Carolina, yeah.
It's at Carolina. I mean, I don't think they'll score over 25, but I think, they'll score more than 19. I think they can get 2 touchdowns and several field goals.
Okay, I think the over under according to DE Sports Lottery is 44 and a half. Also, just another interesting tidbit for you. Over the past 2 seasons, when the Jets are a 3 to 9 point underdog, they're 0-4 against the spread. Now,
And what's the official spread that we got currently?
official spread right now is I think 4.5. It may be 5.5.
I got
So
5.5 over
you got
here.
5.5. So
Yeah.
that means it moved up. So you're looking at 5.5. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts personally, potentially a trap.
Mm.
Um, you know, Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, I think he's a solid person, solid guy, but through
Oh, you mean Sam
adversity,
Darnold?
yeah, Sam Darnold, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good.
Um, but you know, he's one of those guys that came in around the time where, we expected a lot out of him, but a lot of the quarterbacks outside of Pat Mahomes and Lamar, a lot of them had slow blossomings. I mean, we had questions about Baker.
Well, he
We
was
had
in the
questions.
Lamar draft. He came in the
Correct.
same draft for
And
Lamar and Josh Allen,
that's
right?
what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But they were all highly anticipated, and
Mm-hmm.
two of them really blew off into stardom. And Baker slowly built into what he is today. Who am I missing? Bill's quarterback,
Josh Allen.
um, Josh Allen. Again, his first. He didn't come out as a star year one,
No,
but
but he
now
got there
you look
quick.
at him. He got there pretty quick, but again, there were some doubts. There were definitely some doubts.
Yeah, they were
Um,
early on. Yeah.
so again, everybody has their own path, and I think if a team can only be down so long. The Browns were just 4 years ago. I didn't know any Browns fans. They were probably the worst team in history. Now they're possibly can upset Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. You heard it first. P more
Possible.
parlay, possible money line underdog bet.
All right, so
Wee
let's
wee wee.
so let's talk real quick. So P Moore's we both decide our safe pick is gonna be you can lock in Green Bay to cut
Green Bay locked them
as
in.
a survivor pick this
The
week
big
against New
cheese.
Orleans. If you want to take a risky survivor pick, P Moore is plugging you in with the
Jags.
the Jags
Trevor
to
Lawrence and the
win straight
Jags.
up. They're right now a 3.5 point favorite. And then I'm taking Carolina as a 5.5 point favorite, but just to win straight up against a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. Cool. So we'll jot those down. We'll put those in the comments so people can look at the recap after Sunday. Let's move on to this next segment. Let's talk game prop bets, right? So it's real popular right now. You got FanDuel, you
Yeah.
got DraftKings, you got
I mean,
Barstool
you
Sportsbook,
got
right?
everything. You got everything. It's like, Baskin Robbins. Choose your pick.
Choose your pick. So I'm gonna give you two of my prop bets, and then I'm gonna kick it to you, and you can give me your
Okay.
prop bet of the week. So
Okay.
I got two prop bets for you. You tell me what you think. Max Williams, okay, tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. Tennessee last year was ranked 30th in defensive pass DVOA, according to Football Outsiders. So they're terrible against the tight ends, right? They were dead last, or I'm sorry, they were terrible against defending the pass, period. And they were, excuse me, dead last against defending tight ends. So with all eyes on DeAndre Hopkins, because they got to pay that boy attention. He was in the division for 8 years. So they know what DeAndre Hopkins can do, right? They're playing the
They do.
Titans. I think that DeAndre is going to see double coverage a lot. They have a brand new secondary, right? Tennessee has none of those players they had last year in the secondary. I think they really could get exposed. And if they're sending double help DeAndre Hopkins' way, that brand new secondary, I expect Mac Williams to be productive in the sense of over 50 yards receiving. I got Max Williams of the Cardinals getting over 50 yards receiving on Sunday at Tennessee. Kyler Murray is over the last 16 games, 13 of them, he's had over 31 pass attempts. I'm thinking Max Williams is going to get at least 5 targets, possibly a red zone target, and you probably can lock in a touchdown.
I mean, I
from
think
Max
you're looking at
Williams.
8 targets. Don't mean to cut you off, but I
Okay.
just think the way the game is gonna go. I mean, the Titans. I mean, they got the #1 running back. They also got I mean, we all put Julio on our top 5 for forever now. So,
AJ Brown as well.
however, the the defense that they're going to be going against is not a slouch. So I think this is definitely going to be a grudge match. It's going to be definitely possession type of football in terms of those third downs are going to matter. And a weak area in a lot of NFL defenses, especially in predominantly running games, are those tight end areas. So if your tight end can, slip up the seam or hit those corner routes or quick outs, catch, miss one tackle. I mean, you miss one tackle on a tight end, they're not falling forward until another 5 yards, until at
And they're
least
the security
one or
blanket,
two
right?
people hit them. Very secure. That's what I mean. Those conversions, those possessions, and they're going to get the yak. They're not going to be, super spectacular, making people miss, but it's not easy to, take them down. Unless you got big guys back there in the secondary, which only certain teams have, and we'll definitely see how it goes. But I think the way the game is going to go, that prop bet is probably going to be golden. Not a lot of people are thinking about that, but
Exactly.
the tight ends is going to where the battle of the game is going to be won for sure.
And the
So I do
thing with
like that.
me that I was thinking about, right? Like we know Lamar, what is Lamar's favorite target is Mark Andrews. When he breaks out of that pocket,
Exactly.
he's looking, where's my tight
And what
end
is in the
when the play
offense, or
breaks down?
what type of offense predominantly are the Ravens? I mean, they're a running offense.
Yeah,
You know,
RPO. Yep.
running with the yeah, exactly. So
Same thing as
uh
Arizona. Their spread RPO type
bingo,
offense. Yeah. I'm taking
bingo.
lock in Max
Take them
Williams.
tight ends. Yeah.
Cool. Number two. Now you might have some pushback on this one, right? I'm taking under 5 catches from your rookie, Jamar Chase from Cincinnati.
Ooh,
Jamar had a rough preseason. He dropped a lot of passes.
he
He seemed
did.
like he
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 did.
couldn't really find his place out there.
So you think he's gonna pull a Shikari? Is that what we're
Well,
calling those now?
I'm not
Nah,
gonna say he's gonna pull a Shakari,
to the
right?
track star.
Right.
But
But yeah,
I
under
mean,
5 catches from Jamar Chase. So hold on real quick. So get this right. So Cincinnati's opening their season at home against Kirk Cousins. You got
mhm,
Pat Pete out there, LSU favorite, right? All timer, all time Pro Bowl corner out there to start the season. He's got a chip on his shoulder because Arizona didn't want
he
to pay
does.
him,
It's gonna be a
and
little bit intimidating for the young boy.
it is. And you know what? I think that Cincinnati's going to get down. I do think Joe Burrow is going to put up some points, right? But I think they're going to get down early. Their offensive line is destroyed right now through injuries, and I think Minnesota is going to get up on him early. And I think he's going to go to who he's comfortable with, which is Boyd and it's T Higgins. I think he's going to feed his guys that he's cool with, and I think that maybe he'll throw a screen pass to Jamar Chase, maybe get him like a couple little easy ones, but I don't see 5 catches. I'm going to under.
The thing about that is, I mean, how many targets do you think he's going to get?
Mm,
He's definitely going to go with the safer options, but they're not going to draft highly of you and not give you a shot. I mean, preseason's preseason. I mean, maybe it's you rather him drop him in preseason than the game. I kind of look at the glass half full. I
right.
think a lot of people are prejudging Jamar Chase, and it only takes one. It only takes one spectacular catch to put you in grace of a quarterback who is showing a promising future. Coming
Okay.
back from injury, he's got a chip on his shoulder. So who is he comfortable with? I mean, he hasn't played football in a while,
T
until as
Higgins.
of recent. I mean, yeah, that's true,
He's
but
comfortable with T Higgins too.
if it's not like we're hearing Jamar Chase is dropping balls in practice. Big stage. Coming from LSU, got a lot of pressure on him. It's preseason. If you ever get a pass, when would it be? It would be preseason. So don't be surprised. Again, it only takes one spectacular. He could catch that screen and take it to the house. Are they
Right.
gonna?
But that's why I'm
Are they?
taking
They're
the
not
under
gonna
five
target him.
catches.
Yeah, but I mean, if that happens, he's gonna get more catches throughout the game, 100%. And if there are 5 more screen passes, then that bet is just a little. Personally, I'm not going to take a bet when it comes to the mental psyche of the quarterback, unless he's somebody that I've been able to establish a fan relationship with, in terms of I know what
Appraisal.
Tom Brady's thinking. I
Right.
know what Aaron Rodgers is thinking, or I can conceptualize that. I've seen them over 10 years doing the same thing. I know how they attack the game. Don't really know that in this situation. So
Okay.
um, I'm gonna pass on that, but
Cool.
I'll
Hit
take it
me with a
over.
prop bet.
You are the prop bet expert though, so my prop bet's kind of going off of I'm just gonna throw them out there.
Go ahead. Let me hear
Najee
something.
and Julio, Najee and Julio. I relatively believe the yardage for Julio last I checked, and you can confirm this was about 53
Mm.
for week 1. So again, I don't
Under
think
53
targets.
yards, you're taking the over.
taking the over 53 yards Julio Jones because
Oh,
when he does catch it,
153 or
no,
53?
no, 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 53.
Oh, 53.
53.
Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
double check that for me though. Because again, it popped out to me like, now the odds on that aren't going to be minus 110, but
Right.
you might can parlay those two. And I believe the over for Najee was around 56 or 66.
I definitely got the
Um,
over for that.
yeah, definitely got the over for that. I mean,
The
both
Bills
those,
running defense isn't great.
it's not great. So, I mean, I don't care if it was over 80 or 90. I'm probably going to take that right now. So depending on where you were looking, when this video is specifically going to be released for our exclusive viewers, look at the Najee Harris over yardage and yardage for Julio Jones. Now, target wise and catches, Julio can get 80 yards on 2 catches.
Two
We know
catches. Yeah,
this.
he's
And
capable of that.
again,
But
that team is not just because they have Julio Jones, the Titans are not going to be a predominantly passing offense. They're going to be feeding their star running back. And then they're going to set up the play action and get a big play or 2 or 3. And Julio only needs those. I mean, he'll go 3 for 3 for 200 yards, 3 tutties. We've seen it happen.
we've seen it too many
With
times. Right.
too many times. And I mean, that's on a Falcons team that's never really been able to live up to the paper roster that they've had. So take a look at Najee and Julio. Again, I don't want to give any specific yardage because it's definitely been varying all week, but regardless of those, I'm
Basically
going to
taking
take
the
them.
over on their
Yeah,
yards.
honestly, the higher the better because you're going to get more money for your buck. So in this
Cool.
sense, I don't think it matters. I'm taking that. But you got some solid prop bets there.
Yeah, so I got you locked in for the over with Najee and Julio. I'm locked in for the under 5 catches for Jamar Chase and the over 50 yards receiver for Max Williams. Cool. Let's pivot to our last segment. Build your parlay. The viewers, people been in my DMs all week. When are you gonna release your parlay? D Lils, what's the parlay looking like? Did Fresh and Fit take the bet? I just hit it. The guy just hit me up talking about, are you gonna release your parlay that you were gonna use to get on Fresh and Fit? Well, Fresh and Fit turned down the bet. They clearly were scared that I was gonna break the bank this weekend. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's build this 3-team parlay right now at Delaware. If you take a 3-team parlay for $100, the odds are, I believe, 6-1. It would pay out $600. Let's get into it, and I'll get the other odds on what a 3-team parlay would be for your other type of sports books with with the minus 110 odds. So who we putting on this parlay?
Yeah, well, you know, we got to go back to the data and the trends. So,
Right.
we've talked about a couple of the teams.
Going to
Let's
DC
pull up the
first?
slate.
We're going
Let's
to
pull up the
DC
slate.
first? Okay.
We're going to DC first. Are we talking the total of that? Or are we talking aside?
Well, what do you feel
Talking
comfortable
about
with?
Chargers, Skins.
Yeah, let's take a look at
Comfortable
that game.
wise, yeah. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it. So my comfort level shows me take the under, but a lot of data, if I'm not mistaken, based on our conversation, shows me, I mean, the line, the cover. I think it's moved down from +2
Oh
to
yeah, Skins are
+1,
-1. Excuse me. The Washington football
minus
team is
one.
-1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
-1. So they were plus, I believe,
they were.
previously. And that again, I think that was about a week to 2 weeks ago. This is all, P more parlay and D Lils. We don't just, hop out of bed and, just throw up a video. We've definitely pay attention. So essentially the
My
Skins were
mistake.
an
EE
underdog at
Park has
home.
him as a half-point favorite right now. I feel like you gotta
Okay, so
take
that's
it.
really close. You
You
got to
gotta
take it. I
take
mean,
that.
because again, that team was an underdog a couple of weeks ago,
Right.
and San Diego or the Chargers were heading into town as the favorites by at least 2 points. Now they basically flip roles and it's almost a pick 'em, but the favorite now is moved to the home team, which are the Washington football team. So,
Correct.
however, they're still only getting a half a point at home, so that leads you to believe that the bookmakers out in Vegas still think that you know the Chargers have a strong chance to win, but now the edge is with the um, Washington football team. So um, I still like Washington at home coming out the fight. They got a super solid defense. I mean, I think they're going to be top 5 coming off, you know,
And I'm
the
with you.
first quarter of the season.
I'm with you. Chargers first-time head coach. We know what first-time head coaches do. Brandon Staley, very wet behind the ears in terms of his coaching acumen. Ryan Fitzpatrick 9-2 against the spread when starting for a new team week 1.
Mm,
I'll take
mm.
that. I'll take that. Ron Rivera has never
Say
lost.
that again. I don't think they heard
Okay,
that
let
because
me repeat
I,
that.
I mean I had a lot of conversations about who would you rather have, and the opposing end was always Fitzpatrick, and I'm sitting back like, I mean that guy, he doesn't have any stress on his plate. He's already done it. He's already done it. He's already lived a life with his whole family as a backup, and then he get to live his dream out, and everything has just been positive. He's had success, and he's just slaying the ball for a living. 9-2 against the spread, starting for a new team. Bingo.
Gotta take it, right?
Right. The
I'm
only downplay about that is that our viewers probably couldn't get this bet in a week or two ago when they were the underdog.
when they were the underdogs, right? And
Which is where
that's
you would
another
money line
segment
bet
that we'll
and
talk
get
about.
more bang for your buck, but we're gonna, save that. We don't want to get
Getting
too
the number,
complex.
buying the number when you can, when that number is sweet, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
take the number. I just addressed that. Everybody go to my YouTube channel and I talk about buying the play and not chasing a number specifically. You want to chase the play. And the play here was to get the Washington football team when they were an underdog. When they had at one point, I think this summer they were a 2-point underdog. If you didn't
Two and
take
a
those
half at
points,
least,
then
I
yeah,
think it.
2.5, I believe. So we already told you the Ryan Fitzpatrick stat. The last thing I'll drop on you guys here, um, Ron Rivera has not lost to the Chargers as a head coach. He's 2-0 all time, both wins by double digits. Take
Small sample
Washington.
size, but you got to
Small
take heed.
sample size. Yeah, take heed, but I'm taking Washington as a lock this week, half point. That's going to be the first leg of the parlay. Now we switch over to the second leg of the parlay. There's a lot of enticing over unders. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm looking at some of these games here. I see the Bills and Steelers. A lot of people are probably
Mm-hmm.
thinking that's gonna be a high scoring game. I don't
Yeah, and
know.
I think that number moved down to about 48. It might be at
48 and a
47 and
half.
a half. Yeah,
Mm,
48. And that number was definitely not as low before. So
mm.
um might want to, think twice before you get into that over or under. But what I would like to take a look at is you know, Bengals, Vikings.
Okay, let's talk about
I mean, we briefly touched on this earlier, where the type of game where with a prop bet probably with Jamar Chase under 5, but there's definitely options on both sides with receivers. We might not have all top 3, top 5 receivers, but there's definitely going to be quality running, exceptional running on the Viking side, but they have a very balanced offense.
That's true.
But if we look at statistics from when teams don't make the playoffs and they meet week 1, the stats on those shows, pretty high percentage of an over, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Lills. I think it's
You're
around 80
dead
or
on.
90%,
You're
80
dead
or
on.
90%. That game is hitting on the over.
Teams that
So
did not make the playoffs in the previous season have gone over the point total in 8 out of 13 matchups since over the past 3 seasons on opening day. It sounds like an over to me. I guess it comes down.
what's the current total on that right now?
The current total on that right now is where they at? Where are those Bengals? Where are those Bengals here? Okay, over 47 and a half. I think you got to
Oh,
take it. You
gotta
got to
take that.
take it.
I think you do.
You got to take it. Let me lie. That's a lot.
And this is when the the quarterback for the Bengals, I mean, Joe Burrow is, like I said, he's got high potential. Very, very high potential. So
I hope. Here we go. I mean,
we gonna see.
we gonna see. I'm looking at when Burrow starts and scores 29 points per game. Cincinnati is 6-1 against the spread. I would probably stay away from the point spread here. I think this is going to be a really tricky. It could be a trap game for Minnesota. Kirk Cousins has never started week 1 on the road. It could get ugly for Minnesota and vice versa. It could get ugly for Cincinnati. So you're better off taking the over.
Better off taking the over.
You're better off
100%.
taking the over. So first leg in the parlay is going to be Washington half point. Then we're taking Cincinnati and Minnesota over 47 and a half. Let's go to that third leg in the parlay, man. Who you liking out here?
Who am I liking? People don't like who I like, man. They don't. They don't. I'm gonna say, you gotta go with my boy Tom Brady, but
But let's do a non-Thursday night
I don't
game.
wanna do a Thursday night game and give that out. Let's stick to some Sunday football. So
Right.
I mean on the slate, what sticks out to you? I mean, what do you think?
Well, again, I think this is a little bit more difficult week to kind of predict than what people think. I think there's a lot of games people see and they're like, oh yeah, I already got that. I know it's not gonna be that easy. So I'm more siding on I think I'm gonna play a lot more over unders this weekend as opposed to going with the covers.
Mm.
So when I take a look at over unders,
So before you don't see any other covers?
nah, I'm the Oracle. So I do see some covers, but if I have opportunity to give the viewers a cover or over under for this week,
Okay.
I like the over unders. And again, I think the experienced teams with experienced quarterbacks are going to have success on offense. And I think the less experienced quarterbacks are going to see a lot of unders and see a lot of sloppy football. That's me
Okay.
personally. You got
So
a
who you
lot of,
thinking? Who fits in
so,
that category?
so I got to go back to your Houston Jacksonville game. There's going to be a lot of action.
A lot of
Trevor
action, huh?
Lawrence is changing the action on Jacksonville. For the past 3 years, Jacksonville was the least bet upon team.
Not today.
Not today.
Yesterday's price is not today's
Not today.
price.
So I'm looking at it, and when Tyrod is an underdog in week one, the result is an under 66% of the time. I'm looking at,
It's a good stat right there.
5 out of the last 7 NFL head coaches directly from college scored 21 points in their debut. I'm looking at, you know, Houston gave up 99 yards in 13 of 16 games.
Mm.
What does that mean? I'm looking at the under 44. Do I think there's something better out there that we can give? Yeah, but that's where I'm going when I look at this Jacksonville.
So you're
Houston
looking
game.
at like a 19 to 10 or type of game here?
I'm looking at a 23-17. How
23,
many
17. I
times
mean,
have
I
we
think
seen
that's even
Tyrod put up 17 points, right?
right.
Like that sounds like a Tyrod
It's
stat,
definitely
right?
going to be a lot of field goals. Trevor Lawrence, I think he'll definitely have some glimpses of greatness, but he's a
And not
rookie, so
finish
he's definitely going to
drives.
make some errors.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to have some errors in some facet. Is it not finishing drives or is it not, making the right decisions that can affect the
Mm.
possessions of the game? I mean, if he throws 2 picks, drives all the way downfield, all that time is ticking on the clock, which is going to lead you to an under. So, again, you say 23-17. I don't think it's going to be that high. I mean, I think the Jaguars have the potential to score 3 touchdowns. I don't know if he's going to throw for 3. I think he can throw for 2. If he gets 3, one might be running because, again, he's going to be thinking like, hey, I got to get out of here again. It's a lot of fast pace. So he's going to be trying to make the right decision and make quick decisions, which he can do. And he's an athlete. He can get loose. But again, do I think he himself is going to account for 3 touchdowns? Maybe. But again, I think I would take the under on that, and they're definitely going to get over 17 points. Do I think it's going to be closer to? It's going to be in the middle between 17 and 23, where the Jaguars are going to be, and Houston's definitely not going to score 17 points.
So you know what? That was still kind of borderline. If you guys want to take the under, you can. I think 2 games that we should look at for the over.
Okay. All right. Well, before you
KC
do
and
that, because
Cleveland.
I,
Okay.
I think we gave a good option because again we got 2 locked in, so
We
we're
got
talking about
2
this
locks. Right.
third leg on the parlay. Um,
I think we got to look at either
what?
Cleveland and
Hold on.
Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm going to that.
Okay. Okay.
Kansas City. The first reason I'm going to that is because first week 1, what coaches, what teams normally get the job done?
Andy
Always,
Reid.
normally start undefeated. Andy Reid, when he has time of preparation, at least a bye or no game the prior week,
We know
meaning
what he
it's the
does.
week 1 of the season or after the bye or after the time in the playoffs where you got, the first round bye.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid his win rate is exceptional and the against the spread rate is exceptional. I don't have the specifics, but I know
13
that's
and 2.
80, 90. So we're 89 percentile right there.
Right.
However, Browns, man, don't sleep. I mean, exclusive content later. We're going to be talking about potential upset.
Yeah.
However, I can apply that same strategic data to another team. Bill Belichick, Patriots. I know they just let go of Cam, but it was the right decision. Not going to get into that.
Word.
But they got a young guy that they've drafted. I mean, we're hearing great things about him. They play the Dolphins. Dolphins have Trevor Tugalua. I don't even know how to say his name anymore. That's how irrelevant he's about to be because they are getting probably Deshaun Watson pretty soon. If they don't, they're obviously want someone solid. So who knows? I mean, they might grab Cam. But we do know that the continuity and the way the team is going to be built is not going to be up to par week one. Traveling up the road to Foxborough, I believe.
Yeah, they're in New England.
Belichick at home against a rival that has no continuity and probably isn't nearly as prepared as Bill Belichick in the more. I mean, if they cut Cam, that means they're prepared to move forward. That's what that means to me. And Bill Belichick still has a great defense. And
So you're
again, they know
taking
how
the
to put
cover.
points on the board. I'm taking the cover with the Patriots.
So
Sure.
your third leg on the parlay, you're taking the cover. I threw out there the under Jacksonville, and I also threw out there the over on Cleveland, Kansas City. Which one are we taking for the viewership?
You said the over for the
I said
Kansas
the
City.
over Kansas City, Cleveland.
I like that. So I honestly like that. And again, I'm just gonna give another one for the viewers.
Okay.
We got Lamar, man. I mean, you said Andy Reid is 13-2. On a bye or without playing the week before. I think that pretty sure Lamar is about 13-2 on the road in his whole career against the spread, and he's 13-1 on the road, or he's only lost one road game straight up. So yeah, they're traveling. Yeah, they're going into the new Vegas stadium. But if you look over the last couple of years, the Ravens put up points, and I'm talking 30 or more. I'm talking they're going to cover the over, which I'm not telling you to grab, but they cover the over by themselves week 1 and 2. Whether it's home, whether it's away, you got some options on that third leg of the parlay,
Gruden is 1-7 against Harbaugh coach teams.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, if you don't take the Ravens spread, then take them on the money line and on off.
Then take them on the money line.
On the off book betting.
Correct.
So, all right. So who's our third leg? We got Washington half point, right? We have Cincinnati, Minnesota.
I'll take Patriots. I'll take Patriots. You could take the Chiefs over.
You're taking New England -2.5.
I'm gonna take New England as opposed to that over.
And I'm gonna take Kansas City, Cleveland over 54.5, which is a lot of points week 1. But I am expecting Baker to get down early and make a climb late, possibly for a late cover. But only way to find out is tune in to the next show. And I think that's a wrap, man, for Sharps and Minnows, man. You got anything else for the viewers?
Now, P-More Parlay coming here at you. We're going to be here all season with you guys, man. Sharps and Minnows is going to be a nice thing that's going to evolve and progress. So, let us know if you got any suggestions or want to hear specifics on any detailed content or how to get some of the other exclusive content. D-Lils, send us off. Let them know where to find us.
Hit us up at Pro Football Forensics. It will be down here below, as you can see. And then obviously you want to tune in to patreon.com/Pro Football Forensics and search for us on the YouTube channel. If you're not going to subscribe on Patreon, I'm D-Lils, P-More Parlay, the legend.
Holla.
And we're going to get at y'all another day.